Hello and welcome to For the District, the JMCSS podcast on JJ 97.7 FM. Typically, we are in studio at Forever Communications, but right now for this recording, we're at the Co. And I'm joined by Liz Emmons. She's the program director with Our Jackson Home. And just a little while ago, we wrapped up a meeting with several students who are in the Jackson-Madison County School System, and they participate in the Jackson Grown Leadership Fellowship. So, first of all, Lizzie, thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
So, the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship is in its third year.
Yeah.
Explain for folks who are listening for the first time what the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship is all about.
Sure. So the Jackson Grown Leaders Fellowship is led by a volunteer, John Mark Walls, and we choose students from different high schools in the Jackson-Madison County School System that have shown some leadership potential, but maybe have fallen through the cracks for other leadership programs. So we work with the school counselors on choosing one or two students from all of the high schools in the area, and we gather together and we figure out issues that those students have observed in Madison County, either personally or they've just observed from a distance, and they would like to figure out solutions to those issues. So we work once a month for an academic year, trying to figure out solutions to the issues that they want to tackle. And at the end, we pitch that to city leaders who can actually make a difference in those particular issues. And each of the students gives them possible solutions of how they think their particular issue can be solved.
I think a lot of us on the school side were excited because you never know which extracurricular activity will inspire a student.
Yeah.
And so for this leader fellowship to now be in its third year is very encouraging. Yeah. Tell us about some of the topics, not just this year, but over the last couple of years that students have raised to our county and city leaders.
Yeah, so one topic that we've seen consistently come up from year to year, I think, is issues around mental health and having access to resources for mental health issues. Lots of students have brought up different perspectives, different areas of mental health. It's a really broad topic. But we're consistently seeing that be an issue within this particular demographic and something that they're observing in the community at large. So I'd say that's one common theme that we're seeing. This year we also have students speaking on issues of homelessness, the unhoused population here in Jackson. We've seen that grow quite a bit. We don't have a men's homeless shelter, so we have a student speaking on that. Students speaking on police trainings, needing additional trainings, issues of hygienes in our schools. So they're really broad topics, but yeah, I'd say consistently year to year we see students talking about the need for more mental health resources.
You're listening to the Jackson-Madison County Schools podcast for the district. We're joined by Lizzie Emmons. She's the program director of Our Jackson Home publication. And under that umbrella is the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship. Several students in the Jackson-Madison County School System participate in this Leader Fellowship. This year, there are students from Madison, JCM, Northside, JCM Early College High, and Southside High School. And as I got to listen, I guess you'd call a sneak peek to some of these challenges or speeches, I guess one of the ones that was interesting to me because it wasn't a topic I expected to hear was the police response and the idea of accountability and trauma-informed responses. It's always interesting when you have these heavy topics brought to us by your kids, by youth in the city. I always walk away impressed. As you reflect on your interaction with these students, what are some of the things you've been impressed by?
I think I would agree. It's really surprising to see just the level of intuition, maturity, all the above, that students bring to the table, what they're observing in the community that wouldn't expect high schoolers to bring to you, like police accountability, and really holding us as older adults than they are accountable for helping them solve these big issues in our community that are directly impacting them.
We're going to go to a brief timeout, but when we come back, we'll hear from many of the students who are participating in the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship. As we go to this timeout, let's take a listen to the Northside Concert Band. Northside was one of several schools who performed at Old Hickory Mall this weekend during the Spring Fine Arts Showcase. Again, this is Northside High School Band. Let's take a listen.
This is your JMCSS Minute.
This message brought to you by Jackson-Madison County Schools.
Hi, I'm Nevaeh Coleman, a senior at JCM Early College High School, and this is your JMCSS Minute. Did you know 81 bus drivers currently provide transportation for our students? This is more than a 20% increase since COVID, with many drivers coming out of retirement to provide transportation. Covering 12,000 miles daily, 8,000 students are taken to and from school with the help of our drivers. Currently, more than 2,000 families have downloaded the Where's My Bus app to stay updated about their child's bus route during the day. We're encouraging more families to use the app in order to stay aware. I'm Nevaeh Coleman, a senior at JCM Early College High School, and this is your JMCSS Minute.
Visit JMCSS.org to join our team, apply for enrollment, or to schedule a tour. Choose us. Tuition-free, Jackson-Madison County Schools. Welcome back to For the District, the podcast for Jackson-Madison County Schools on JJ 97.7 FM. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for Jackson-Madison County Schools. This morning, we're spotlighting the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship, where several students in the Jackson-Madison County school system are participating. I have 3 students with me right now, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves. You are?
Ruthie Bray from Southside High School.
Mark Owen from JCM Early College High.
Andrew Ellis from Madison Academic.
So my first question, how did you find out about the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship? Ruthie, we'll start with you.
My counselor called me into her office and told me that I had been nominated for it and asked me if I would like to go ahead and go forward with it, and I said yes.
Why did you decide to apply?
Because I knew that it would be a good scholarship opportunity, and I would like to take part in a lot of scholarships for college.
How about you, Mark? My school counselor came to me or called me, and I had no idea what it was, but I just decided, okay, I'm going to just do this, even though I had no idea what I was doing.
Andrew, how about you?
I was actually referred last year by my counselor. I was told I'd be going in here. I wasn't told specifically I'd be giving a speech to our city council members. Later on through the year, I was informed. But I was asked if I wanted to come back this year, and I said yes, 'cause I thought it was a good idea, and I'd had more time to think about a topic I was more interested in.
Andrew, Mark, and Ruthie are participating in the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship. And Andrew, you mentioned the city council, but if I'm recalling the last 2 years, the mayors are also there, your county commissioners are also there, members of the school district are there. And so it's an opportunity for our youth to present a challenge to the leadership. Before we talk about your particular speeches or challenges, this fellowship has been a process, and you guys have participated in classes. Tell me, Ruthie, some of the things you all have learned through this leader fellowship.
I have definitely learned how to speak publicly way better. I used to be terrible at speaking in front of people, and I have learned how to make friends a lot easier, so it has definitely helped me become a more social person for a very introverted person.
How about you, Mark?
Well, I've learned how to work with other people and also how to interact with people who know this stuff, and also learning how to speak to a lot of different people all at the same time.
Andrew?
I was learning, honestly, one of the biggest things was all the different points of view people had to the troubles and the problems within our city. And of course, as everyone else, the public speaking to large groups, that was another one of the big things.
You're listening to the podcast for Jackson-Madison County Schools for the district. This morning, we're spotlighting the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship. I'm joined by students in the Jackson-Madison County School System who are participating in this fellowship. Ruthie, tell me a moment, I guess kind of set the stage, the process of picking a speech. I would guess more than one theme may have came to mind. How did you go about honing in on one particular subject?
Well, initially, my first topic was that students don't have enough free time overall, especially in school. But then I started thinking about how the GYMS program has affected me after our photographer started talking about her experience, and that really honed it in for me. I was like, I can talk about that because I have personal experience.
Mark, how about you? How did you, Ruthie kind of told us number one and number two that she was thinking about. Tell us, what was your A and B?
Well, I didn't have really a thought in my decision. I knew homelessness was an issue for me for my entire life, so I dedicated myself to that issue.
Very good. Andrew, did you have trouble narrowing down what your speech would be about?
My thought process was I thought back at the times in my life where I saw a great issue with the things I had dealt with, and I came to the conclusion that the police responses and the outcome of the police responses was my main thing, and it continued down to police responses and the resources for people in those situations.
So, Andrew, when I set in to kind of get a preview of these speeches, yours was the first one I heard, and I didn't really expect this theme or a challenge to be coming from a student, but you did a great job. Kind of tell us, I guess, where your passion for this kind of topic came from.
It came from experiences with law enforcement officers, where, as I said, the outcome wasn't as I had hoped, and the issues which they were called out for were not resolved. And my intentions are to have other people have those resources available, and then possibly protocols set in place so that the outcomes for these other people would be better than mine.
Don't want to give too much of your speech away, but the last comment I'll make about your particular speech that we were able to hear, you guys preparing for the event in May, the fact that through your research, you actually attended some classes so you could kind of get firsthand experience about how officers prepare for particular police calls.
Yes, sir. So it's called CIT, Crisis Intervention Training. It is mandatory for JPD officers, and it is one-on-one training in real-life scenarios that have happened and possibly will happen, and the appropriate responses for these police to interact for the best possible outcome for these people.
Andrew Ellis, a student at Madison Academic, and listening to your speech, I thought it was very cool that you mentioned some of the agencies in our county and community who are participating in this trauma-informed training, but of course there are some that aren't, and so you'll bring that out in your challenge, in your speech, and I thought that was a great idea. Andrew Ellis, a student at Madison Academic. We're spotlighting the Leader Fellowship here, and so there are students in the Jackson-Madison County School System participating in this fellowship. When we come back from this commercial break, we'll visit with Ruthie Bray. She's a student at Southside High School, and then we'll also speak with Mark Owen, a student at JCM Early College High. They'll tell us about their speeches and the challenge they want to make to the community. You're listening to For the District, the JMCSS podcast on JJ 97.7 FM. As we go to this timeout, let's take a listen to the Northeast Middle School Honor Choir. Northeast was one of several schools that performed at the Spring Fine Arts Showcase at Old Hickory Mall this weekend. Again, this is the Northeast Middle School Honor Choir. Let's listen in. This message brought to you by Jackson-Madison County Schools.
Hello, I'm London Murphy, a junior at Southside High School, and this is your JMCSS Minute. Did you know that our school system, social and behavioral services, have sent home over 1,200 snack backpacks to children in need? The service has assisted many families with uniforms, school supplies, winter coats, and snack backpacks. Over the past 5 years, families that have received uniforms have increased 5 times the amount. That is 1,500 children. Plus, more than 800 of those students have received coats as well. Each year, they have helped over 2,000 students have a smooth open enrollment period. I'm London Murphy, a junior at Southside High School, and this is your JMCSS Minute.
Visit jmcss.org to join our team, apply for enrollment, or to schedule a tour. Choose us. Tuition-free, Jackson-Madison County Schools. Welcome back to For the District, the podcast for Jackson-Madison County Schools. I'm Greg Hammond, Chief of Public Information for JMCSS. Today, we're spotlighting the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship. Several students in the Jackson-Madison County School System have participated in this Leader Fellowship, and they're getting ready to close out the semester with a big presentation coming up in May where they'll make a speech and essentially make a challenge to our community leaders. And I was fortunate enough to sit in on to preview some of those speeches. And Andrew Ellis, told from Madison Academic, told us his speech centering around police responses and trauma-informed care. And so he's done a great job diving into that. If you missed his comments, just check us out on YouTube or Apple Podcasts and rewind to catch the front end of that. But right now, we're going to visit with Mark Owen of JCM College High and Ruthie Bray of Southside High School. Mark, give us a little bit of insight on how you crafted your speech to address homelessness in our community.
Well, the way I crafted it was based upon my experiences. In Jackson, I have seen, I've spoken, I have talked to people who are in these positions, and that gave me a passion over years to talk about this situation or issue.
You mentioned in your speech, again, addressing homelessness, the need for additional support for nonprofits. You also mentioned expanding affordable housing. And of course, our city councilmen and our county commissioners, our mayors will hear your speech during the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship Challenge that's coming up. You talked about affordable housing, and you also talked about nonprofits like RIFA. Why do you think it's important for everyone in the community to support those organizations?
Well, I mean, they're helping people on the street with the essential needs, food, and it's very important that people come and help their city. This is helping your city. This is not just an individual issue. And so people need to come together, and this is a issue that everyone can has a solution for, and that's their own selves providing help for these people.
What other activities do you participate in Early College High?
I don't participate in many activities. I mainly just do my academic studies, and I also go to Jackson State Other than that, I don't do anything else.
Well, that's a lot, particularly when you think about juggling your academics. Ruthie Bray is a student at Southside High School, and you shared a really heartfelt story about your teacher and how your teacher has helped you. So as we transition to your speech, tell us about your teacher.
Okay, I would like to spotlight Katie Lee. She was my English 2 teacher in high school in my sophomore year, and she really helped me think outside of the box because of the way she taught and graded these papers. Whenever we'd write essays, she would grade them on a personal level with her students instead of just grading on a set curriculum or a set grading scale. She would leave personal notes on what she thought and things, not just at the bottom of the paper, but on each paragraph, and it really helped me encourage myself to try harder and not be as set in this perfectionist mindset that I can make mistakes and still get praised for what I did good for.
So, Ruthie, in your speech, you talked about the Gifted program or the GEMS program. I had never thought about it the way you presented it. My daughter is in GEMS, so now I'm going to go back and talk to her and kind of get her thoughts on that. But when you are a gifted student, it can be a little bit of isolation. Describe that for us.
Well, it started in elementary school when I started getting taken out of classes, and you start noticing that your peers look at you differently and think of you differently, and it just really sort of makes you feel alone and think, oh, I really only have friends inside this GEMS program because they're the only ones who have the same predicament I am. And so I really think that if they take them outside of school, like after school, it would combat that issue and really solve it.
Why do you think it's important for adults to think about education from the student point of view? Because that's what your speech made me do as I sat, through the preview of your speech. Why do you think it's important?
Because times change, and I feel like a lot of adults now are really still stuck in that way of thinking that, oh, you're young, you don't have these struggles, you're too young to have that. And I think they need to really dive deeper into the people that are actually getting educated, because these are going to be our future leaders, our future citizens. And if you don't care for their education, it's not going to be good in the long run, and you need to think about their needs and their capabilities and nurture them, not just set them in this box.
We're visiting with Ruthie Bray, a student at Southside High School. Ruthie, what grade are you in?
11th.
Mark, what grade are you in?
11th.
Andrew?
I'm a senior.
Awesome. Fun fact, Andrew is also a member of the superintendent's ACT 30 and Up Club, so congratulations on that. If you could wave a magic wand, and I know you guys are raising your own concerns and issues, but you also have teammates or peers in your leadership program that are also bringing up issues, and these are complex issues. But if you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about Jackson, Madison County, what would that one thing be? And remember, it's a magic wand, so you don't necessarily have to have a game plan. What would you change, Ruthie?
I would implement specialized education immediately, because I feel like every student learns in a different way, and not a lot of teachers address this and go out of their way to really help their students, instead of just teaching them this curriculum that goes one thing to the second thing and then all throughout the year, and then they don't really try to help their students.
So not everybody's a Katie Lee.
Yes, not everyone is a Katie Lee.
Shout out to Miss Lee out at Southside High School. Mark Owen, a student at JCM Early College High. Let's say you have a magic wand. What would you change about Jackson, Madison County, or our community?
Well, since I have a passion for homelessness, I would wish that every person would have a stable home and a stable life, so that they can have really life.
I think it's cool, Mark, that you have a heart and concern for other people. I guess the stereotype is when you're an adult looking at kids, a lot of adults think kids would be self-centered maybe, but you guys aren't that way, and so that's a credit to your families and your teachers and your schools and your support systems. It's very encouraging to hear. It's also a credit to the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship for giving you all an opportunity to share your thoughts and ideas. Andrew Ellis, let's say you have a magic wand and you can change one thing about Jackson-Madison County, your community. What would you say that thing is?
More resources for people, for abuse victims, and also protocols for police officers when dealing with these abuse victims.
The cool thing about this is I know there are people in our community who will hear this interview and will take steps to assist you all in doing the work and leading through our community. We do want to thank our students for joining us this morning. Andrew Ellis of Madison, Mark Owen of JCM Early College High, and Ruthie Bray of Southside High School. I don't know if you guys know, but both our city and our county mayors were students in the Jackson-Madison County school system. So one day, who knows, we may have Mayor Bray or Mayor Owen or Mayor Ellis. Thanks again for your participation, guys, and looking forward to your speeches coming up in May.
Thank you.
Again, we were spotlighting the Jackson Grown Leader Fellowship, which is under the Our Jackson Home umbrella. And if you haven't picked up the most recent publication of Our Jackson Home, the spring 2024 issue is now on stand. So be sure to support the folks at Our Jackson Home. We also want to thank Program Director Liz Emmons for joining us earlier to tell us about all the exciting things going on in this fellowship. You're listening to For the District, the JMCSS podcast on JJ 97.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Bethany Knott, a junior at JCM Early College High, and this is your JMCSS Minute. Did you know that over 40 pre-K classes are offered in 11 elementary schools across Jackson? This program serves over 700 students with a low student-to-teacher ratio for personalized learning. Special services are also offered, such as several types of therapy, resources for low-income families, multi-sensory rooms for special needs, and a full-time nurse. This upcoming year, they will be implementing a research-based and state-approved pre-kindergarten curriculum, including science, math, literacy, and social development. I'm Bethany Knott, a junior at JCM Early College High, and this is your JMCSS Minute.
Visit jmcss.org to join our team, apply for enrollment, or to schedule a tour. Choose us. Tuition-free, Jackson-Madison County Schools. Again, this is For the District, the JMCSS podcast. We want to thank our friends at Forever Communications for producing the show. You can listen to this episode and other episodes on Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you check out your favorite podcast. We hope you have a great Sunday, an excellent week, and we'll see you next time.